Hello! We're here in between Courchevel and Meribel in the Three Valleys, and we're going to do what is considered to be one of the worst runs in the resort. The run we're going to do today is called Marcassin, and it's the main run down to Meribel. It's bad because it gets icy, incredibly busy, and in sections it's pretty steep. So we're going to give it a go. So here we go. Off down Marcassin. There's a rock there. So far though, I have to say the snow is pretty nice and it's not too busy. So which way are we going down here? I think it's off to the left. Here we go.
As you could probably hear from that last bit of audio, the sound recording on the camera while I was skiing wasn't particularly good, so I thought I'd do a bit of a voiceover and let you know what my thoughts were as I was skiing down. Now, at the top, the snow was absolutely fantastic. The run was nice and wide, it was relatively steep but not too steep, and it was really enjoyable to ski down. Mercifully, there also weren't very many people there, so the snow was kept in a good condition and it was just good fun. I have to admit, not 100% sure where these ridges in the snow came from. I'm assuming there's something to do with the pisting. I don't know. If you know how they arrive, then drop them in the comments below. I'd be really interested to know. Marcassin's a bit of an interesting run really, in that you have these several really quite wide open, straight down the mountain parts of the run, and then they're sort of broken up by these very flat, long, almost like sort of tracks, like roadways. But as you can see, the snow and the gradient and the lack of people, for the worst run in the Three Valleys, this isn't bad at all.
Now I can certainly imagine, after some worse snow, that could get pretty bloody icy. But right now, it doesn't seem bad at all.
I think you can start to see and hear it in my skis that the snow's starting to get a little bit worse. I think one of the real issues is that this run goes from really quite high up down to quite low, and also it's always in the sun, which means that when it's warm like it was this day, then the snow starts to melt, and then when you get melting then you get ice, but you also get the snow just leaving the area. So I think that's one of the big things, that's one of the big reasons why this is probably quite an icy run. I have to admit, this wasn't a particularly fun bit of skiing, one of these sort of tank tracks that goes across the mountain. It's quite hard to maintain your speed. Having said that though, when it gets a little bit steeper like it does now, it's a really good place to just practice those carving turns. When I used to be an instructor, I used to really get people to find these places on the mountain where they were able to safely practice their carving turns. And I have to say, it's something I still do whenever I'm on a place where the skiing's not that exciting. I'll try and practice those fundamentals.
Doesn't seem bad at all. Okay, right. It's a bit more interesting.
I'm now dropping into the last bit of steep section before I get down into Meribel, and you can see that because it's getting a bit steeper, people are starting to do less controlled turns. They're all starting to follow each other's paths, and we're getting these mounds of snow built up. In between the mounds, obviously the snow's getting pushed out of the way, and you can start to hear that ice. There's a bit, I almost went down there. And then where those mounds are, they will eventually develop into moguls, and I can see now why this section of the run in particular, people might think it's one of the worst sections in the Three Valleys. You can see that guy in front of me is just following someone else's turns and not choosing where to turn themselves, whereas if he was turning not where the tracks were and turning where the snow was, then he'd be doing all right. As you can see back there, the snow's starting to get thinner. Even though there was a lot of snow when I was out there, the snow's getting thinner because it's always facing the sun and people are always just skidding down it. So I can imagine this run, when there's not a huge amount of snow, gets pretty rocky. I actually found it really interesting to watch this run back and see how much variation there was in the run, in snow conditions and in ski techniques needed.
Well, there we go. So, in terms of being the hardest run, I'm not sure about that. Certainly some interesting bits on it though. Okay, so there we have it. That was Marcassin, what is supposedly the worst run in the Three Valleys. To be honest, today it felt pretty good. The snow was good, there weren't too many people, and there weren't that many patches of ice. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe. If you want us to do any other videos, make sure you leave it in a comment below. And until next time, enjoy!